The year was 1415, and an African empire was about to change the world. Imagine standing on the coast of Portugal. You're watching something extraordinary unfold. Prince Henry the Navigator is about to sponsor the first European expeditions down the African coast. But here's what they won't tell you in your textbooks. Africa didn't need Europe to discover its greatness. Africa had already done that centuries before. Let's test your knowledge of African history. Not the version written by others, but the real story. The one told by the kingdoms, the empires, and the millions of people who built civilizations that rivaled anything in Europe or Asia. In 1324, a man named Mansa Musa walked across the Sahara Desert. He wasn't just any traveler. He was the king of Mali, one of the wealthiest rulers who ever lived. His pilgrimage to Mecca was so extravagant, so unimaginably rich, that he destabilized the entire Mediterranean economy. Gold, thousands of camels carrying gold. When he passed through Cairo, the price of gold collapsed. This is documented history, yet most of us never learned his name in school. Mansa Musa proved that African kingdoms didn't exist in isolation. They were connected to the Islamic world, to trade networks spanning thousands of miles, to centers of learning and power that shaped global commerce. But Mali wasn't the beginning. 3 centuries before Mansa Musa's famous journey, the kingdom of Axum dominated the Horn of Africa. In 330 AD, King Ezana declared Axum a Christian nation. This wasn't a European import. Christianity had arrived in Africa before it fully took root in northern Europe. Axum minted its own coins. It had its own written language, Ge'ez, which is still used in Ethiopian churches today. When Rome was fragmenting, Axum was thriving as one of the world's 4 great superpowers. Now travel south, down to Great Zimbabwe. In the 1300s, this civilization built massive stone structures without using mortar or cement. Walls fit together so perfectly that you can't slide a knife between them. Architects and engineers designed a city that controlled trade across southern Africa. They traded with China, with the Indian Ocean world, with merchants as far away as the Persian Gulf. Zimbabwe wasn't built by mysterious outsiders. It was built by Bantu-speaking peoples who engineered solutions to challenges we still marvel at today. Here's where the test gets harder. Most of us know about the transatlantic slave trade. But do you know about the Hausa kingdoms of Nigeria? For over 1,000 years, these city-states dominated West African trade. Katsina, Kano, and Zaria weren't just markets. They were intellectual centers where scholars debated philosophy, theology, and science in Arabic and Hausa. The Hausa had banking systems, trade guilds, and women who held tremendous economic power. Queen Amina of Zaria, ruling in the 1500s, expanded her kingdom through military conquest and trade. She's mentioned in chronicles as fiercely as any European monarch, yet how many of us learned about her? And we cannot forget Ethiopia. While most of Africa fell under European colonial rule in the late 19th century, Ethiopia remained independent. At the Battle of Adwa in 1896, Emperor Menelik II led his armies against Italian invaders. The Italians suffered a devastating defeat. Ethiopia signed no colonial treaties that stripped away its sovereignty. It joined the League of Nations as an equal. This single victory rippled across Africa, inspiring resistance movements, proving that African nations could stand against European powers. This is the African history test. Not to measure what you've forgotten, but to awaken what you never knew. Across this continent, from the Mediterranean to the Cape, from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean, African peoples built empires that rivaled the greatest powers of their time. They created writing systems and religious traditions. They engineered cities and trade networks. They produced philosophers, warriors, merchants, and leaders who shaped human civilization. The true,